It was the effing around of times, and now it is the finding out of times. The finding out of times. As PD now has descended upon every major university where encampments have been for basically the last 4 or 5 days. And a lot of, college brats are in tears. And, I do want to say that this is it's a tough issue for me because I love laughing at woke idiots, but I also have to acknowledge First Amendment rights, and that even if I don't agree with, these weirdos' tactics, they have a First Amendment right when they follow the law. Okay, so there's some very important nuance between that. They want to hold their signs, do their stupid little chants. Me, 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 me. Fine. Yes, we get it. You can do like 2 notes. All right. You sing your song. That's fine. All right. But when you have an illegal encampment and you've been asked repeatedly and told repeatedly by law enforcement to move, you must move. I don't care if you walk up and down public sidewalks holding signs. But once you stand in the street and you do not let people who make minimum wage get to work in the morning, I do not think that is a First Amendment rights issue. But now they are in the finding out stage, which includes rubber projectiles, dozens of arrests, lots of tears, and including some journalists now who are getting caught up and knocked over and this, that, and the other thing. Although I did look at the footage, and the cameraman did kind of slam into. I'll show you, but this is obviously the greatest picture. I do think it's interesting that the outdoor mask has been extremely helpful in identifying NPCs. This is a great picture of a crying college-age student who's just realizing that they might have thrown it all away. Now, let me be clear about this part too. It's my belief that these people are just getting arrested, ticketed, and immediately released. These people aren't doing 5 years in prison. Okay, they're dumb. They're crying. They're like, oh my God, consequences. I've never had those before. And it's funny to point and laugh at that. But these people have a stupid trespassing ticket, and then 10 years from now, when they're in their 30s and they're getting an application for Starbucks, they'll say that, yeah, I was in college and I was at a protest and whatever. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, but their reactions are hilarious. Here's one outside with an N95. Now, one thing that I want to point out, for example, Governor Greg Abbott in Texas. I don't think I'm a fan of this gentleman. He's absolutely fine with the border situation down there at times. And then when it's politically expedient, then he cares about it. Anyway, he calls everything there. He says that they were arrested for anti-Semitism, which is not a crime. In fact, speech that even you disagree with, vile speech that is offensive, speech that has issues with race, that is protected under the First Amendment. Now, he took the opportunity to virtue signal about anti-Semitism instead of saying the truth, which was that the crowds were being dispersed and arrested because they were trespassed, and their permit to sit there and occupy illegally private property was revoked. You see other videos here of students getting the buzz, the riding the lightning. Again, it's a 7-second video, so I'm going to refrain from worrying about context. In this particular video, they're running around. They can't believe what's happening to them as pepper balls and rubber projectiles are, every video we see of the worst of it, I'm not going to side with cops, like being, trampling on people's First Amendment rights, but that's not really what's happening here in any of these footages. Now, the footage that gets posted online is the chaos of, the cops ripping down the tents and arresting people. What they're not showing you is for the past, 3 days, they've been telling these people that you have to leave and that you can have your protests over on public property. You can go find somebody who's sympathetic to your cause. All this kind of stuff. People crying, saying, "My tent, my tent." The whole thing is, people are getting arrested because they're refusing to leave after being trespassed, not because they are protesting. Again, you know, maybe someone will say that's fascistic. I'm trying to be very fair here and say that even though I think that these are woke idiots worried about a cause that's 5,000 miles away from here, and most of them wouldn't survive a day in Palestine. Many of them would be tossed off roofs. They have every right to pretend they care. They have every right to protest. They have every right to sing their songs, their drum circles, their cringe dance circles. They can do all of that stuff, just not on private property. And you see here, Palestinian activists now charge into the Fashion Institute of Technology and storm the building. Now, I was told that these people were peaceful. This does not look peaceful. This is, you know, overwhelming security. This is trespassing. This is like literal crimes, right? A lot of white rich kids here with, stickers and literally every one of them wearing a face mask, it looks like. Oh, except for this super spreader here. He's not. But literally everybody else is wearing a face mask. You know why they wear face masks? It's because they want everyone to know that they're part of the cult. Here you see a photojournalist. They're trying to say he was thrown to the ground. Well, that's not exactly what happens. When you look at the footage, you know, he had basically run up into the back of somebody while trying to, film the scene. Again, was he thrown in prison? Seems like he was cleared out of the scene, this, that, and the other. You see this, a protest at Emory University has descended into chaos as Georgia PD took several people into custody. Multiple students arrested as videos showed Atlanta PD and Georgia State Troopers wrestling with them on the ground. A demonstrator who was also seen being tased. Again, this I get. Like, if this part is not true, then I stand against it. But it is my assumption. I know it's crazy. It's my assumption that they have been asked to leave numerous times. They had been told that they are trespassing numerous times before this happened. Okay, this is, people want to talk about Kent State, things of that nature. I think that they have a right to peacefully assemble, but they don't have a right to occupy private property. And that's what's happening here. They're getting pushed out. And I think it's funny, it's hilarious, and I laugh as the guy is getting tased because he's asking for it. He didn't comply with law enforcement, probably dozens and dozens and dozens of requests. Because why can I know that? Because that's exactly what I see these cops do every time they're dealing with these woke college brats. They give them 1,000 chances to walk away, and they don't do it. And then when they get arrested, they're like, "What is this?" I don't buy that. Go stand on the sidewalk with a sign. Or go to a public park within the hours that the park is open and do your demonstrations there. There's just some laws that people ask to be respected. You guys aren't marching for racial equality in this country. You're just being an NPC pretending to give a damn about some strip of desert land that you've never visited, that you know nobody from, and that you'll never know anyone from. You see another protest has broken out at Northeastern University, Zerti Centennial Common, as more than 100 pro-Palestine protesters gathered tents. Who's buying all these tents, by the way? Have you noticed that all the tents are the same color? Like, they all seem to have that green tent. I don't know, again, I don't know. I'm not making any claims. I don't know the answer. I just noticed, hey, they all have the same tent. Maybe there was a bulk deal at Costco. I don't know. I think it's funny. Again, all of these people have been told to move for days, and they chose not to. I think you're going to see the cops breaking the stuff up faster because, again, this is bad for Joe Biden. This is infighting on the left. The right has its group of people that are not fond of Israel, but what people never talk about is the left has an even bigger part of their ideology that is not fond of Israel, and they're in power. There's not a lot of alt-right guys in Congress, but there are dozens of Marxists, anti-Semite, literal anti-Jewish people in Congress. You look at anybody from the Squad, okay, and the things they say about Jewish people. They're elected officials. They want to talk about the alt-right, and they're not in power. These people are. The alt-left is. And you see videos capture multiple students being approached as they got tear gassed and rubber bulleted, which can be heard ringing out in the video. Again, let's not pretend that they haven't been told for hours to disperse, days in some cases. They don't own the lawn on that property. They're impeding on all these other students' rights to, get to class. They're shutting down campuses. Now here's another girl crying while she's got her Doc Marten combat boots on that appear to be brand new. I mean, you see, among those arrested, Noel McAfee, chair of the philosophy department at Emory University. I've asked for a comment from Emory on this arrest. No word yet, because the teachers are the ones doing this too. The teachers are organizing these students because the teachers are communists. You see, oh, here, let's see how many you've got. A Palestinian flag, and you've got all these flags in your bio. You're probably an American citizen. People say, hey, why is this person getting zapped even though they've been restrained? Well, I don't know what's going on before or after that, but it looks like there's 3 grown men trying to restrain him, and they cannot. And I guarantee you he's been asked multiple times to comply. So I don't know what you want me to say. Like when the cops say, if you've been trespassed, which they are, you are now breaking the law, and when you refuse to leave, you're going to get zapped. I don't really know what you want me to say. I mean, I don't support it, but it's just the truth. And, you had every opportunity to leave. This is not freedom of speech. These people are communists. They are mobs. They are, trespassers. They're breaking property. Again, you see, these young people need to understand protesting is fine, but they're taking it to the next level, which will be met with force on the location. I'm tired of seeing mayhem demanding something that isn't even an issue in the U.S. And I guess I'll leave it with that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you have a like on it, and we'll see you live at 5:30 Eastern today. We'll talk to you again real soon.